Yo, what's going on? It's Femi Smiles, and I'm going to teach you or tell you how I learned Japanese. So basically I taught myself Japanese from zero, nothing, up until becoming a translator, and I worked for a Japanese company for about a year, translating stuff for them. I don't do that anymore, by the way. So the first thing I started off with was Pimsleur. So Pimsleur was like listen and repeat. Like they would say something and then you would repeat it, and then you'd build on that. I used to work outside Liverpool and I used to live in Leeds. I'm from London, but I worked in Leeds. Long story, I worked in from Leeds and had to commute to Liverpool for a project. And it took me about 2.5 hours every day. When I was on my drive, I'd play that Pimsleur tapes, and they were actually on I downloaded them on iTunes. But downloaded that, listened to that, repeated. Maybe I did like 2 or 3 lessons in a time, and maybe repeated the same lessons again and again. And I used that. It's like a 3-month course. I think it's a 3-month course. Bang that out, and I could speak a little bit of Japanese. And when I finished that, I used conversationexchange.com. And that you can find like a conversation friend or a pen pal or someone you can meet up with who's in their target language, and you can meet up with them and then speak or do email or Skype, whatever. If you want to be safe. I spoke with my partner on the phone, and I was living in Leeds, as I said, and they were in London, but I'm originally from London. So when I went back to London, I was able to meet them in person, and they helped me with my Japanese. I was really rubbish, but it helped a little bit. So that's conversationexchange.com. Be safe. I mean, some people use it for other reasons, but conversation. So I've made a few conversation partners from that, actually. And the first time I came to Japan, I met one of my conversation partners, and they were in Osaka, and they took me around, and that was cool. That was really nice. So yeah, conversationexchange.com as well is good. Another thing I used is Anki. So Anki is a spaced repetition system, basically, and it's like flashcards that you'd get, but they're electronic, and they'd come back based on how easy it was for you to remember. So it would come up in Japanese and you could read it, and if you thought, I didn't understand that, you click on that was hard, and it will come back again on that cycle. Otherwise it will come back maybe in a week or a month, depending on how well you learned it. And that was really good. So the thing about Anki is I put in my own phrases, and I got those phrases from textbooks mainly, or phrase books. So textbooks are going to be really, katai Japanese. It won't be really like very, natural, but it's still alright to get your point across. But I'd use phrase books, not all the phrases you need, it depends on what your purposes are, right? Yeah, so you use books, or you can, it's advice to stay away from anime and manga a bit. Some depending on, you don't want to be sounding like Naruto when you're trying to speak, or sounding like Vegeta, but just TV programs when I use natural Japanese. Also, I used to look at a program called AJATT, All Japanese All the Time. I used to listen to podcasts and try and read as much Japanese and watch Japanese films. I think back in the day we had I think it's called Love Film or something. They'd send you DVDs. I used to get Japanese DVDs all the time and just try and listen and try and understand, and just try not to use subtitles, and did that a lot. And also what built up my reading is I started reading children's books. Like I read Tonari no Totoro, the easiest version, and it was like 1 word per page, and I couldn't read that, and that was very difficult. And now I can read I read the same Japanese novels as my Japanese students. So I read a lot of Higashi no Keigo now, and my dream was to read Murakami Haruki that was my dream. That was my first dream or goal, yeah. And then when I read my first book of his in Japanese, I was like, yeah, we're doing it. Good thing. So yeah, reading is really good. You can pick up a lot of new vocabulary from reading if you like reading. Or it depends on what you like. Read what you like, innit? So do what you like. If you like you like reading fashion magazines, you like read fashion magazines, you have to read something, yeah? To read something you like. If you're not interested in science, don't read New Scientist in Japanese. It's going to be boring as hell, isn't it? It's not like I didn't get any outside help, because I obviously had my conversation exchange partners. I went to a place called, it was a Japanese meetup in London. It was in the Slug and Lettuce in Leicester Square. I used to go there and try and meet Japanese people and talk with them, practice. It was really hard for me because I'm quite shy. So meeting new people, I would just be there, and I would probably not really talk to any people unless one of my friends, foreign friends that I knew, took me and maybe introduced me to some of their friends. So yes, man, Cool. So Kieran, Ade, yeah, thanks for that. Cool. I met my good friend Emmy there. So that was cool. So that was a good place to hang out. So I know they've got them around the place. So you meetups are cool, and try and just talk. People will help you. So when I got here in Japan, that's when I realized I couldn't really speak well. But I started trying and copying phrases, still using my Anki and practicing, because all the thing was reading and repeating by myself. But when you're really speaking with people every day, then it really helps. So a lot of the kids at school, I spoke to them in Japanese sometimes, not during lessons and stuff like that. That was cool. And other teachers, nomikais, they were all good. So it's good to get out there and speak and actually meet people. If you're in Japan anyway, there are loads of like really cheap places you can learn, like community-based places. They have a lot of volunteer teachers, and they'll be happy to help you learn. It might be very structured. So the place I went to was I was preparing for my JLPT 2 test. So basically what I was doing is reviewing things I've already done. So I wasn't learning much new stuff, but you know, making sure that I didn't make the stupid mistakes. So that was really cool. And now, actually, even though I got my job as a translator and I finished that like in October, I've started using a Japanese teacher now to teach me to brush up my Japanese. I know there's a lot of things that mistakes I make. My pronunciation is not perfect. It's nowhere near perfect. It's not perfect, so they're going to help me with that and make me have more natural and smooth conversation, because day-to-day conversation, Nichijou Kaiwa, I'm cool, but when it comes to like business place Japanese, it's like, oh, it's a bit hard, it's a bit tough, it's not as fluid as I'd like it to be. So I'm still studying now. Yeah, but as I said, I can read novels, and I haven't read the novel in English in years. It's all Japanese, and I'm like, oh, to my students, what novel are you reading? I'm like, I'm reading this. I'm like, oh, me too, I read that one too. And they're like, and it'll blow their minds, like, can you read kanji and stuff like that? There are so many good Japanese speakers here. That's I've gone off on a tangent, but yeah, I mean, definitely getting Anki. You just go to Anki, Google Anki, and you can download packs, or you can go on the web service. I think they still have. And Pimsleur is very what do you call it? Very katai. If I have to go, like, you would just be like, ikanai to. But otherwise, it's like, ikanakereba naranai desu ka. It's like no one says that, but it was in the phrase. It was in the thing. I think it's outdated. That's it. Anyway, peace. You run out of me, son?